MC is a certified flop for all 55 cringe years. Absolute zero achievements, literally no legacy, no fam, and definitely no wins. And yet here he is, standing toe-to-toe with some unhinged, sky-tearing monsters that won't even let him breathe. Dude's on the brink of dying and still like, yeah, bring it on. I can do this all day. His peers are called sword saints. Him, they call him the swordsman with dementia. His so-called legend isn't glory, it's just blood, corpses, and regrets stacked on regrets. No parents, grew up in an orphanage, raised by teachers who got torn apart right in front of him. His childhood friends, captured, slaughtered, gone. His teacher's last words weren't some heroic speech, just don't be scared, run. Now it's his turn to log out. The monsters tear open the sky and rain down like it's the end of the world patch update. They take everything from him, every person he ever cared about, and still somehow he doesn't break. When he's literally at death's door, someone jumps in and saves him. A miracle, a once-in-a-lifetime interruption. That figure becomes his obsession. He wanted to be that guy, the one who arrives too early instead of too late, the one who doesn't watch people die helplessly. So he throws his entire life into fighting. Months, years, decades, slaying monsters non-stop. And for what? Nothing. No matter how much he kills, he never gets strong enough, never fast enough, never good enough. He still fails, still loses everyone, still arrives just in time to watch hope die. Now his body's quitting on him. His sword feels heavier than his regrets. Death is standing right there, waiting patiently, and he's pretending to be nonchalant about it like that'll help. His dreams? Shattered. His home? Gone. His family? Never existed. 55 years of straight L's. At this point, he's drowning in what-ifs and just thinking one thing: if only I could hit regress. And the author goes, yeah, I got you, homie. Instead of low-key dying quietly, he ends up clearing the entire dungeon. Meet Sanghyeon, still grinding away in dungeons after 30 years. He's been a solo swordsman this whole time, and his biggest accomplishment is barely cracking the top 100 inches the national rankings. Outside Korea, he doesn't really matter. One day, he unexpectedly gets his hands on a skill book. Since he's consumed a bunch of artifacts already, he wonders if he can do the same with this book. That's when a late-blooming scholar shows up and starts praising his dedication. Sanghyeon appreciates it, grateful that this scholar even cares about a so-called third-rate swordsman like him. The scholar talks about some sweet perks he has at levels 850 and 900, but Sanghyeon's stuck at level 650, so he's not getting anything cool. Still, the scholar encourages him to try devouring the skill book. Sanghyeon thinks artifact devouring is his only power since awakening. He spent years figuring out how his abilities worked, even trying to bite and roast artifacts like food, though that didn't turn out well at all. After 30 long years, he finally realizes he needs to sync his mana with the artifact's tier to really consume it. But man, that took way longer than it should have. Just as he's about to open the skill book, the scholar snatches it away. Sanghyeon's bummed because there's barely any info on his skill, but the scholar is just making another attempt to sync their mana, thinking he has plenty of time for that. That thought makes Sanghyeon snap. He's 60 and feels too old to still be clueless about his own skills. The scholar apologizes and tries to stay calm, reflecting on his regrets. He remembers feeling inspired by a hero he once saw. He got so caught up in wanting to be like that hero that he forgot his own turn. Now he just feels worn out. Hearing this, the scholar smirks, toying with the idea of retiring and even considering ending their contract. But out of nowhere, he casts a time rewind spell on Sanghyeon, using years of research. Meanwhile, a journalist on TV talks about how awakened players are key to development, mentioning dungeons linking to other realms. Sanghyeon watches this and feels stuck. 4 days pass, and suddenly he's thrown back 30 years, memories intact, right to that moment with the scholar. He wakes up as a 25-year-old, realizing that the scholar must have worked some sort of miracle. Confused and excited, he's ready for a fresh start. Now, he's armed with a venomous dagger for self-defense that has a hidden skill. He can absorb stats from it, and the main ability kicks off mana sync, dropping him into a trippy mental space he has to pass through to devour artifacts. This time, he manages to get a golden, shining chicken meal from the dagger. It looks like barbecued chicken drizzled in olive oil, definitely a pleasant surprise compared to what he expected, like centipede soup. After eating it, he effectively absorbs the dagger and even gains some hidden skills. The artifact is fully devoured. Back in reality, he has a skill he can actually use, and it's time to take action. He heads into a dungeon where a minion yells for the captain. The captain is surprised to hear that a newbie named Sanghyeon has joined their team. The minion can't believe it. He got picked just a few days ago and hasn't even graduated from the academy yet. The captain calls him a loser, while a kid next to him wonders why the captain even wants him around. The captain shrugs it off, saying they've got nothing to lose. They laugh at him, questioning what a level 1 could possibly bring to the table. Sanghyeon jumps in, introducing himself, and the other mules start getting jealous when they see him. The captain and the kid are glaring at him with clear hostility, and it's obvious they're not even trying to hide it. The captain gives him a half-hearted welcome and notices his greatsword. He brushes it off, saying he just watches a bunch of YouTube videos about it. The captain warns him that a greatsword is one of the trickiest weapons to handle. He replies that he'll do his best, which gets the captain fired up as he starts hyping up the minions for the raid. As they head into the dungeon, they're all wondering how many skills they'll pick up. The captain keeps an eye on Sanghyeon, thinking he must see dungeons as a joke just because he learns from YouTube. He figures Sanghyeon is acting all arrogant after awakening. This dungeon is an orc dungeon, notorious for giving newbies instant regrets. The captain chuckles to himself, convinced Sanghyeon is about to get a harsh lesson, but then he's hit with a wave of fear. He watches in disbelief as Sanghyeon takes down a bunch of huge orcs in seconds. He can't even wrap his head around it while Sanghyeon just stands there looking unfazed. Orcs are those classic monsters that pop up in games and novels all the time. There's this common misconception that they're weak, but that's just not true. They're only weak compared to some other monsters. In reality, they're pretty unintelligent and super violent. New players often get way too confident and forget that orcs just charge right into their territory. Orcs are pretty straightforward. They weigh over 400 pounds, and the strength difference between them and humans is massive. That's why they're known as the Wall of Instant Regret for newbies. As they head into the dungeon, one of the minions reminds him that they won't make things easier just because he's new. He has to step up and act like a real player now that he's awakened. He insists he'll do his best, but the minion isn't convinced. Still, he stays chill and asks if he can take points when monsters show up. The minion just tells him to relax. Suddenly, a huge orc appears out of nowhere. It's his first fight in 30 years, and he confidently steps up. The minion tries to tank the orc's hits, thinking his slow moves with a greatsword might get him killed. Just when he's close to being smashed, the captain shows up and floors the orc with a hit, sending it flying. The captain asks if they're planning to have a picnic there. The minion apologizes, and the captain says he'll take care of the orc, but the orc goes wild on him. The captain stabs it easily. The minions get hyped, but the orc just grins. It doesn't care about one stab. It strikes back at the captain, who dodges smoothly. He watches everything unfold. Captain Yoon is clearly the strongest around. Without hesitation, the captain lunges in and stabs the orc again as if it's nothing. The orc gets smashed down, nearly trapped under the captain's greatsword. The minions are freaking out as the captain levels up instantly. The high orcs see this and get furious, charging at him. He calmly explains that even though he's low level, he's got loads of experience. With a quick flick of his sword, he cuts through them like they're nothing. Then the biggest one steps up. It swings at him, but he slices right through it, teasing them about how many ugly brutes he took down back in the day. The minions are stunned, can't tell if he's really a rookie. The last one is an armored orc, decked out in gear. It charges right at him, but he doesn't flinch. He gives a tiny flick of his sword and makes a shallow cut because the armor is too thick. The orc swings its axe. He nearly gets hit, but then the orc freezes up. He uses his demon passion skill, which paralyzes the orc. It can stun enemies for 2 seconds based on their strength. He tells the demon inside to hold the orc down. As the orc lets out a desperate scream, he slices it down. The minions are in disbelief. They can't believe he just awakened 3 days ago and already pulled off a full stun. Even high-ranking players only manage 1.5 seconds. They start to wonder if he's just that good with a greatsword. Some even think about asking him which YouTube video taught him. The captain can't wrap his head around that stun skill, or the fact that he took out an armored orc. He can't believe a supposed newbie has that kind of skill. He levels up again and earns a title called Fearless Puppy, getting a bonus stat point. He decides to increase his luck since it impacts his success rate, and his luck goes up a bit. The captain, still skeptical, asks if he's still a newbie and demands to know where he got that stun skill. He actually time traveled, but plays dumb, saying he just learned it when he awakened. The captain snaps, insisting he's not messing around because it's too weird. He claims they only got lucky since he somehow landed a diamond tier artifact or something. He asks the captain if he wants to check out the sword. When the captain looks it over, he realizes it's just a regular artifact. He gets mad, saying there's nothing special about it, and demands to know if that skill is really his. After running dungeons for 2 years, he still doesn't have anything like that, and now he's worried about how the loot split will go down. Out of nowhere, a mini-boss pops up. The captain decides to move on and thanks him for taking out the weaker mobs. He warns him not to get cocky, thinking that flashy skill won't help against the demon orc they're about to face. But our guy suddenly remembers why he rejoined this party after coming back to the past. He calls out to the captain, who thinks he's scared, but he calmly asks if he can keep the artifact if he takes out the demon orc by himself. The red crimson stone is a rare drop from demon orcs, and the chances are so slim that you could take down millions and still never see one. Back in his previous life, he totally flopped at a dungeon raid with his team and watched another group post online online about getting a crimson stone right after they entered. He saw it land in someone else's hands, knowing that they were about to make a killer profit. Plus, it comes with a delay skill, which is exactly what he needs right now. He knows how loot splits work based on who contributes, so he figures it shouldn't be a problem. The captain starts moving ahead because he really needs that delay skill to progress. But when a newbie like him asks for that, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. The jerks around him start acting like he's lost it, thinking he's getting too cocky. Surprisingly, the captain is fine with it and lets him go ahead. The minions can't believe it. The captain adds that this deal only stands if they can't beat it. If he manages to solo the boss, the item's all his. That definitely makes things easier for him. The captain decides to leave him to fend for himself, convinced that this kid's just acting like a big shot because he has some solid skills. He's sure he can take down the demon orc and quiet the kid for good. He's out to show what a veteran can do. He pushes open the gate and immediately freezes. A mini-boss is staring them down, a high-level, bloodthirsty demon orc. The captain tells everyone to stay ready. He thinks this should be an easy fight, so he orders his minions to attack from behind, smirking like he wants to give the kid a chance to go solo. He charges in first, thinking he'll get first blood, but in the next second, he's in deep trouble. He can't believe what just happened. They rushed in, full of confidence, but that's exactly why they failed the first time. The captain and his minions get knocked down instantly. Stunned, he realizes those demon orcs are way tougher than he thought. He regrets trying to take the easy route. He orders a retreat, certain the kid must be enjoying the show. One of the minions can't believe the kid is just standing there, doing nothing. The captain shouts for everyone to fall back. He turns to the kid and warns him not to come crying when he gets wrecked. But the kid stays calm and doesn't seem worried. He knows he won't get hurt. The demon orc lunges at him without hesitation. He knows taking down a demon orc isn't going to be easy with his current stats, but with his 30 years of experience, this fight is different. Their weapons clash, and even the demon orc looks confused. The minions can't believe he blocked that axe. His hands go numb. This is really pushing his limits. The red stone is hanging right on the demon orc's chest, and he can't help but grin, totally obsessed with the item. The demon bash can stun enemies for 2 seconds, and while he doesn't see huge growth potential in it, his devouring skill lets him mix skills. If he stacks stun effects with demon bash and delay, he could pull off a stun lock, and that delay could make it happen. The demon orc charges again with everything it's got. This time, he rushes in and slashes, creating a small opening. Demon bash hits and stuns the orc for 2 seconds. The captain can't believe it actually works on a mini-boss. He's shocked at how simple-minded demon orcs are. But then, out of nowhere, the orc slams him, and somehow he lands on his feet without a scratch. He forgot about the orc's self-heal, which shortens the stun duration. Now he has to wait 15 seconds before he can stun again. That's why he really needs delay. He decides to go back to basics and charges at the demon orc, but it dodges him. The minions think his skills are useless now since the stun doesn't work, and the orc is stronger in every way. But despite all that, he's having a blast. It's time to wrap this up. He remembers pulling off a similar move in his past life against a way tougher opponent. His stats are lower now, so he has to concentrate all his strength into one point. Instead of a flashy slash, he uses the orc's momentum against it. He thrusts forward and even wrecks the orc's axe. The blade goes straight into its heart. The demon orc gets devoured. He levels up again and gains new titles. He can't believe how much his past experience is paying off now. The minions rush in, stunned by what they just witnessed. He knows the only way to dodge an awkward moment is to act like he barely survived. He pretends that if the captain hadn't landed a hit earlier, he never would have pulled it off. The minions can't believe the captain even got a hit in, and he stands there dazed, realizing he's being saved from looking bad. The red stone drops, and the captain figures the kid really plans to keep his word about the loot. It's up to him not to let his guard down now that the minions are done. He announces they're moving on to the final challenge. One minion steps up, still unable to wrap his head around how a newbie pulled that off solo. Now it's time for him to enjoy his big prize. He drifts into unconsciousness and wakes up to a bowl of gourmet cold noodles. It feels like a lucky break. He digs in while the red stone keeps sinking into him, and he suddenly gets this ability called delay. He even figures out he can attach it to another skill. He can't believe it and wonders why he's feeling nervous. He adds it to demon bash, extending its duration. The extra bash boosts the stun too, making it a solid 4-second stun, something he thought was just a theory. But it actually works. The captain comes over and mentions the final boss is an orc berserker. He offers to let him take the first shot, but he declines. The captain admits he'd be foolish not to use a player like him, so he hopes they can work together. They bump fists, ready to dive into the boss chamber. The minions shoot him, looks of envy, and he notices. The captain is pumped to finish this fight, while he can't help but think if one of the minions just glared at him. They get to the final boss chamber, and the orc berserker looks way tougher than them, giving off a heavy vibe. The captain tries to take charge, but he steps up and tells everyone to follow him, leaving the group a bit confused. He knows this orc has low skill resistance, so stunning it should be easier. He charges in, thinking everything will be alright, while the demon orc lunges at him, acting wild. He questions if he's really leading everyone out of genuine confidence. this. When he was younger, he was freaked out by everything. As he got older, it was a struggle just to make it through each day. He's determined not to go down that road again. Now he's got a future he can actually change. He's ready to prove himself and show everyone just how strong he can be. With a hard push, he lands a solid hit on the berserker orc, stunning it for 4 seconds. He gives the signal for everyone to attack, and the demon orc goes down fast thanks to the whole crew. The dungeon's cleared. The minions can't believe how easy it was. Even the mules are thinking about signing on with him. He's surprised too. His level shoots up, and he scores a new tier title. In his past life, he never really had any luck with titles, but looking at the sword demon, the guy known as the title collector, he still feels a bit small. Kyungsu is an absolute beast. He's the strongest swordsman around and hit level 1000 inches just 2 years after the whole player era kicked off. He was always someone he admired. Now though, he feels like he could actually chase that level if he keeps pushing and never lets up. The captain walks over and sees him stretching. Out of nowhere, he hands him an artifact, and he's totally taken aback that he's giving it away. But looking into the captain's eyes, it's clear he pretty much carried the whole team. It's just a bronze tier, and the captain knows he thinks it's something special. Still, he decides to let it go since they probably won't cross paths again. As tough as it is to admit, the captain feels like he's on a whole different level compared to the rest of the crew. Behind them, a minion is seething about how he picked up a couple of skills and instantly became the captain's favorite. He pulls out his phone and calls his boss, swearing revenge. Later at home, he can't help but smile when he sees 6 million won drop into his account. Plus, he's got the artifact too. It's a ring that boosts strength and even has feather weight, which makes everything else he's wearing feel lighter. It's only bronze tier because most players run out of mana before they can even swing with it. But he's not your average player. He just figured out how to devour artifacts recently, but he's been going all out researching and testing the whole process. There was this one time he devoured an artifact that drained mana, and the outcome blew his mind. Usually, a constant drain artifact comes with some downsides, but devouring it totally wipes the mana cost. So now he's syncing up with the berserker ring, and he couldn't care less about those penalties because he just gets stronger with every kill. Meanwhile, in a nightclub packed with girls, this jealous minion is venting to his boss about some guy who can pull off a 4-second stun. The boss raises an eyebrow, wondering if the minion's looking for some payback. The minion just scoffs and calls the guy a silver spoon kid. A girl nearby butts in, warning him that he has no idea who he's talking about. The boss, not having it, slices off the minion's ear, douses him in whiskey, and demands to know where this guy is. On the other side, he arrives at the training center and plops down on the stairs. The berserker ring feels like a cold cucumber soup swirling around inside him. He keeps his chin up because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. He twirls his great sword like it's a feather, even though it's massive. The weight of the sword sticks with him until he gets used to it. He checks out his player info and stats, realizing he needs to start getting noticed by constellations. He hopes for one that gives extra luck, but he knows he's not strong enough yet for them to show up on their own. So, he dives into training. After getting out of the car, he nearly collapses a bunch of times while practicing. After 3 days of non-stop training, he scores a new skill, two-handed sword mastery. There's a solo dungeon right in front of him. If he were in Seoul, he'd have waited months for this. He glances to the side and sees another car pulling in. Didn't expect anyone to follow him this deep into the mountains, but he figures he'll deal with whatever comes up in the dungeon. 3 guys stroll in after him, and since he thought this was a solo gig, he just waits it out like it's no big deal. He knows they didn't stumble in here by accident, and lets them know this dungeon is his turf. He can tell they're not your average idiots. Their crew setup is weird, just swordsmen and archers, no healers or support. He gets what they are, a gang of humans, hunters, called Team Hyena. They're surprised at how calm he is. He already knows they recently took a beating from a big crackdown. The archers are usually the biggest pain for these kinds of groups. He asks if they realize why he's waiting for them here instead of taking care of their bodies outside. One of the minions gets really angry about it. A scarred-eyed minion tries to calm him down, but the tough guy thinks this is a cakewalk. He teases the tough one, trying to provoke him, and the jerk bites instantly. He just stands there cool and collected, trusting the dungeon's rule. Only the strongest survive. His life's always been in danger, not just from monsters but from greedy people hunting for artifacts too. The weak get picked off, and the strong survive. If he wants to keep going, he has to fight back. He learned that the hard way. Everything going down now is just self-defense. He calls out to the remaining idiots, wondering why they're still hanging back. One minion's already down. The other 3 spread out and get ready. The archer can't believe one of them went down, especially since he's still at level level 100. They can't wrap their heads around the fact that this guy just awakened days ago and is already swinging a giant sword like it's no big deal. The archer lets loose a volley of wild shots. He just slices them in half. Before they know it, the archer takes a clean hit from his great sword. They're shocked he can throw a massive sword like that. They notice he has no weapon now and think they've got a chance. They charge at him while he darts for his sword. He's almost there when they slam into him. They freeze when they see he's doing calisthenics in the middle of the fight. He snatches the great sword. The guy with the scarred eyes drags a minion in front of him to take the hit. The minion gets it right in a terrible spot. He knows these people are in the organ transplant business and aren't out here for loyalty. He's seen plenty like them before. The jerk charges at him, all demanding to know what he's gonna do. He stops midair, totally stunned by the demon bash. He's hanging there, trying to act tough, but sweat is pouring down his face as he realizes he's actually frozen. He can't believe a little cut earlier did this to him. He fights to hold on, but his thoughts drift to his minions, the ones who always relied on him. He always thought he was the big bad, but now everything's flipped. He asks what's up, wondering if the jerk is finally scared with the tables turned. A moment later, he wipes the dirty blood off his great sword, thinking he probably won't be earning a holy constellation anytime soon. But he tells himself it was self-defense, since they tried to take him out. He feels pretty good about it, especially after snagging the artifacts they dropped. As he stands up to leave, he checks his info and stats again. He always tried to steer clear of situations like that, but somehow he walks away with some decent loot. In just a few days, he feels like he's hit level 50. He's also got this new ring, an artifact he snagged from that wrecking idiot. It's a recovery ring, totally unexpected from that guy. It can fix side effects, and he realizes that if he had just used Demon Bash earlier, he would have been in deep trouble. He reminds himself to be more careful next time, and syncs up with the recovery ring. Deeper in the dungeon, the goblins are just doing their thing until they spot him standing there, ready to throw down. He's on a mission to grab the title, It's My Lucky Day, which means he has to take out at least 500 mobs while blindfolded. The little guys stare at him, confused, while he tries to find them. As soon as they realize what's going on, they get all excited and start drooling. He's all about the sounds and the vibe around him. Staying sharp is key since he's totally depending on his senses. He can feel the mobs moving in close, and honestly, they're already trying to take him down. With one quick spin of his sword, he slices through everything nearby. Each hit feels good. Someone shoots an arrow at him, but he manages to knock it away. The mob is stunned. He was in a tight spot earlier, but now it kind of feels like a throwback. With a grin, he gestures for the mobs to come at him. A whole wave of goblins charges in, and he just keeps slashing away, one after another. It's like free points just piling up. After taking down a ridiculous number of them, he levels up and gets the title, It's My Lucky Day. He can't believe he barely had to swing his sword. His luck stat skyrockets, and he's feeling pumped about stacking up titles. The remaining mobs are shaken when they see him now. Wanting even more luck points, he checks his stats again. He reaches level 15 with tons of HP and mana, and now he's got 5 points to use. His hands are shaking. 30 luck points from one title? That's worth a fortune to him, maybe even a gold mine. A ripple forms in the air, and suddenly the vibe feels off. He senses something coming, and a thrill rushes through him. 3 figures appear in the sky. One is the Cleaner of Fallen Dimension, a being that seems to thrive on spreading bad luck. Then there's another one that shows up, and finally, there's this knockout girl who's bursting with wild energy, just ready to jump into whatever chaos she can find next. They're ahead of schedule, and it's not just one of them, there are 3. This chick zooms up to him, and he wonders if it's kinda rude since he's not used to situations like this from his past life. Turns out, she's the goddess of luck, and she's super into him. She's never met a swordsman with luck like his before. He plays it cool while he figures out what's going on. The first constellation is the Cleaner of Fallen Dimension, and it's all about the potential it sees in his ruthless side. Apparently, it vibes with people who are good at killing. Then there's the Cosmic Wanderer, which is curious about what's going on in the mind of a guy who doesn't even know why he's here. This constellation is supposed to be all saintly, so he figures it's only interested because of the luck goddess. The Wanderer even seems to blush around her. The goddess of luck isn't into exclusive contracts and won't stop him from making connections with other people. That really hits him. She's actually a solid choice. He thinks back to the Mystic Archer, a dude whose arrows always hit their mark, even if he's just shooting blind. That guy used to have a super high luck stat and even picked 2 constellations. The goddess of luck pulled off some wild stuff for him. Now, he's in a tough spot trying to pick between these 3, acting all cool about it. This just throws them for a loop. They want him to shake off his doubts and even start questioning if he's really the guy they think he is. He knows the goddess is a big deal, but he can't help but wonder if he'll ever get another chance like this. This decision is going to shape his entire future. For the first 10 years after he becomes a player, the only thing that ever pops up is this constellation called the Late Blooming Scholar. When it shows up, it feels like a burst of hope, and he can't help but be super excited. He thinks maybe things are about to change, challenge, but nothing really happens until he turns 55. Even though he never gets anything from it because the requirements are crazy high, he's still grateful since the scholar is the one who gets to rewind his life. That's why he needs to be smart about his choices now. He probably won't get another chance to rewind. Now he's got to choose between sacred power, brutal destruction, or some incredible fortune from this hotshot girl. After a bit of thinking, he finally makes a choice and confirms it. As expected, he vibes with the super hot chick. The contract is set for 30 years. A bunch of constellations are watching as they hit it off. 3 of them are acting all hostile, promising to mess with his progress, which totally throws him off. He brushes it off and gets back to his grind. He lifts his hand casually to say hi. They grab hands, and she's stoked about his choice. He takes a quick look and notices a crazy boost. Higher critical hit chance, a guaranteed unique tier when he devours an artifact, and he gets an artifact drop every time he takes down a mini-boss or stronger. The girl feels pretty proud. He's shocked because it's all way overpowered. Every stat point turns top tier. He's practically hitting 100% crits and snagging artifacts left and right. The girl asks what he's gonna do about the offers from those other 2 constellations, but he just brushes them off. That leaves them confused. The Cosmos is promising to teach him a lesson, and the cleaner has it out for him next time. But that hotshot girl couldn't be happier, totally vibing with his chill attitude. He doesn't need to be greedy right now. He just has to stay patient, because better chances are gonna come up. In the final boss chamber, he jumps into a one-on-one duel, while a girl watching is already on edge. He's not worried about this weak final boss at all. They go at it hard, and even though the Goblin Lord puts up a fight, it's clearly outmatched. It tries to intimidate him, but that just gets him pumped since intimidation is way weaker than a stun. Sure, it makes him less eager to fight, but he's got his recovery skill ready to go. The boss swings hard, but he manages to break its axe. He thinks that's just fine for dealing with weaker mobs. He activates his recovery, then decides to take a chance. That freaks out the Goblin, and he lands a clean hit, triggering Demon Bash and stunning the Goblin. With 2 whole seconds to work with, he slashes quickly, racking up hits. The second delay effect kicks in, and the Goblin screams in pain. He goes for another round, and the second delay stacks again, feeling like a double stun. He just chills while the poor Goblin suffers. In the end, the trash Goblin bites the dust. Our guy clears the whole dungeon, and even snagged a new title. He feels pretty relieved that it's finally done. The title, Don't Touch Me, gives him a boost in luck. After dealing with the stalkers and the dungeon, he decides to call it a day. The girl lights up because dodging that many attacks in a row isn't something normal luck can handle. He wonders if it's just his skill, but she says she's glad he has so much luck. She admits skill counts too, but she thinks it's all thanks to her. He dumps more points into luck, pushing it past 100. Once a stat goes over 100, the related effect gets a 10% boost. Evasion ups his dodge chance, and luck increases drop rates. Now he's got Kudnis's shield, which helps his defense. He's grateful for her bonus since he's guaranteed a drop from bosses now. That means more chances to get better artifacts. The girl is really into this. He syncs with the shield but remembers how, with the late blooming scholar, he always had way too much going on. At the quest area, a tired chick tells him no way. He tries to pitch his plan, but she's not buying it. She's seen too many bow captains bite the dust this week. Plus, he can't let everything fall apart now. Just 2 hours ago, while he was driving home, he grabbed a Korean meal with rice and kimchi, thanks to the shield. Then, out of nowhere, his car starts making these weird noises. Suddenly, it's flashing red warnings all over the place. He's fuming and decides he definitely needs a new ride. But finding a new place to crash is even more urgent. His neighborhood is sketchy, and he can't be looking over his shoulder all the time. He needs to move to Player Town, where the security is solid. Plus, he's got to get a new artifact to boost his absorption rates. All of this needs cash, and fast. The only way to score that is by hitting up the quest area linked to Player Town. The Players Association runs it, and he thinks it should be a piece of cake. Feeling pumped, he rushes right in. Back in the now, the chick tells him to enter at his level. He tries to argue that hitting low-level areas is a waste since he's level 17, but she's shaking from being overworked. Someone else tried the same line yesterday, so she stands firm again. He can't really blame her though. He just feels totally stuck. Then another girl walks in. She's Miso, an absolute knockout, level 100, and a beast of a tank. He recognizes her right away. She's the godly bow of Massacre, the first to hit A+ rank at level 100. Plus, she runs Halo Biotech. Her guild is stacked with the strongest players, the best assassin in the country, the top swordsman around. They call their guild Eden. She's definitely a Silver Spoon kid, and she doesn't think she's seen him before. She overhears him and is curious why he's after a level 100 quest. He tells her it's all about the money. Her minions can't believe she's actually talking to him first. They think she's just trying to teach a newbie a lesson. He picks up on all of it. She tells him the quest difficulty is super high. He's already aware of that. Higher difficulty means bigger rewards. He remembers that before the rewind, she shot down his party request. No hard feelings now, though. Then she brings brings up the rule against soloing. That hits him. He remembers the restriction doesn't lift for another 4 years. He laughs it off, claiming he must have misread the rules. She smirks and asks if he wants to team up with her. Her minions are freaking out, staring at them in shock and jealousy. He's curious about what she's really planning, so he asks if there's a catch. She brushes it off, saying it's just a nice gesture, but he's still skeptical. She keeps insisting there's no catch, then adds that if his skills don't match his confidence, he's going to regret it. If he can pull it off though, she'll genuinely apologize for being too hasty. It clicks for him that she's looking to put him to the test. She's not just well known, she's a full-blown superstar. Anything she says makes the news. If she gets a reputation for talking a big game without delivering, it could ruin her career. So he shrugs it off and says they should hit the road. For him, this has the potential to be a good time. Miso heads out, looking for someone to party with since all her guild members are tied up. As she walks into the area, she hears some noise. She totally needs to team up with my boy because the whole minimum members rule for quests is such a pain. Then she spots him, looking confident yet a bit unsure, and that piques her interest. So she decides to ask what quest he's planning to tackle. The girl pulls it up, and it turns out it's a defense quest. Definitely not a collection or hunting one. This one requires taking out every incoming monster to clear it. Usually, you'd want a 4-person team for this, but my boy's intent on going solo. Miso thinks he could have handled it easily without her. He asks if she's feeling nervous, and she gets a bit caught off guard. He notices she seems to zone out and thinks she might be anxious. She starts shaking a little, and he wonders if it's too much for her. He even suggests finding more people to join in, but she grabs his arm and insists it's fine, then immediately accepts the quest, and they start teleporting. The girl can't believe Miso is actually with him, and tries to convince herself it'll all work out. The minions are puzzled about how a level 17 player ends up in a level 100 quest. They figure there's gotta be a reason Miso picked him. They start chatting about the rank system, saying it doesn't really show true strength. Players are judged on their dungeon clears and overall battle skills. Miso's A+ rank is all about her battle sense, which seems wild to them. It means there's even stronger players out there, but honestly, they're just jealous he gets to team up with her. Inside the dungeon, Miso gets set up. She hopes he can back up all that confidence. If things get dicey, she's ready to jump in and help. Meanwhile, he's just lounging around with a smirk on his face. She's hoping this will be a good learning moment for him. 30 minutes earlier, he tells her not to get involved unless he asks. He even throws in a 5% cut of the reward, which she thinks is a pretty sweet deal for just being there. But money isn't her main focus. She's all about the goal, 300 monsters. There's no way she can handle that alone, especially at level 100. So he just tells her to sit back and watch. She decides to up the stakes. For every monster that gets past him, she gets 1% more. So if 95 slip through, he'll walk away with nothing. A wolf growls in the distance, and he confidently says that won't happen because he's got this under control. Then, the wolves rush at them, and both her and Miso get stunned while he cuts through them like it's nothing. She thinks it's cute how they squeak when they take a hit. That's when she realizes he can actually back up his confidence. His strikes are smooth, and his stance makes the most of the great sword's reach. He moves efficiently, and takes out multiple enemies in one go. She still can't believe he's managing to keep that up. There are way too many monsters for a level 17 to handle, but he looks like he's having a blast. Something feels off though, and she can't quite pinpoint what it is. Then it hits her. None of the monsters are moving. The demon pressure hits them all at once, and she freezes in shock. Is he actually stunning them? The pressure is so intense it makes her wobble. He's just slicing through everything like it's nothing. She almost loses her balance just from the aura. She's still in disbelief, trying to wrap her head around this stun business. Even without a timer, she knows it lasts about 4 seconds. Now she's curious about who this guy actually is. As he's having his fun, he suddenly hears a deep roar. Something finally comes into view. A black wolf charges right at him, going completely wild. He hasn't seen many of these before, so it feels kind of nostalgic. The black wolf triggers a stun, and he instantly freezes up. Miso feels the stun hit her too, but her artifact protects her. She mentally kicks herself for forgetting that black wolves can stun as well. Things are about to get dicey, so she gets ready to step in. She just can't wrap her head around how he's able to trigger a stun like that, especially since she thinks a lower level player shouldn't be able to clear those status effects. But he's got recovery ready to go, and breaks out of it right away. Miso is shocked again. He's handling that great sword like a pro. His stun duration is off the charts, and he even clears debuffs at level 17. The black wolf feels a chill. The target that should have been stunned is back in action. He senses that brief moment of panic is his window. That decides the whole fight. The surprise hits like an actual stun. Blood sprays everywhere, and the smell soaks into his clothes. He brushes it off. He's already drenched, so a little more blood doesn't faze him. Meanwhile, the The girl is way too hyped, watching him shred through everything. My boy is almost done with this quest. Just one monster left to take down. He's leveling up like crazy, and just got this new title, New Fear. He glances back at Miso and smirks when she finally stops doubting, and just enjoys the action. He knows the party's moving on, and it's time for the final showdown. His last challenge in the dungeon is a wild wolf that's the last thing anyone wants to deal with. This full moon wolf lord is all about bloodlust, and it charges right at him. It used to be known for its unpredictable attacks, but after 30 years, all its moves have been broken down to the tiniest details. He springs into action without a second thought, rushing in and slashing because he can read every move it makes. His demon bash doesn't trigger because the wolf lord has skill resistance and is at level 100. Miso can hardly believe he's for real. She's blown away that he swings this massive greatsword like it's nothing. The wolf lord throws out all these wild moves, trying to take a bite out of him, but he keeps blocking with his sword. She's amazed he moves like he knows every crazy attack already. For him, it's all second nature after grinding for years, but she still thinks it's wild. The most ridiculous part for her is his cockiness, like he's showing off how strong he is. She can't help but wonder who this guy even is. The fight keeps dragging on, and it's getting intense. He's pretending to be calm in front of the girl, but really, he's just trying to let the wolf lord tire itself out. He knows he's at risk of getting taken down by a beast that's still got plenty of energy left. His health points are dropping fast, and he's starting to feel like he might pass out. Then something unexpected happens. The wolf lord pulls one of its classic tricks. This is the signature move that has wiped out tons of players before. He's never tried to counter it, but it feels like now or never. He makes his move and slices off the arm like it's nothing, but the wolf lord pushes through with its remaining arm and delivers a crushing hit. Miso collapses in shock, feeling like she let him down. Tears well up as she wishes she had done something instead of just standing there. She feels bad for him, but out of nowhere, a bright light covers the scene. It's the shield absorption, and then a special effect called sacrifice kicks in. It's a healing boost that absorbs all damage to a chosen body part. When he and the chick scholar were checking out the conditional healing skill, he had to pick a body part to sacrifice. The options were super specific. He thought about going with his back, but even that was split into 4 sections, so he just picked his front, which was the only option that made sense strategically. Luckily, that choice saved him. The sacrifice skill kicked in perfectly. If he had been even a little off, he would have been done for. Now, Demon Bash finally activates since the wolf lord's luck has run out. The skill resistance breaks when the arm gets chopped off. It's time for him to flip the coin. While the chick watches, he makes the wolf lord taste its own medicine with 3 quick stuns. Everything works out for him. He turns back to her, and she's standing there, totally taken aback. She's a bit impressed, and thinks he could have at least mentioned the healing skill, since she thought he was actually dead. She's wondering if he's having a stroke or something. She can't believe he even knows about the wolf lord's attacks. She's met a bunch of swordsmen before, but never someone this intriguing. Then she notices something and starts to put the pieces together, almost saying it out loud, but then she stops. He jumps in and asks what she's trying to say. She's definitely feeling the pressure from him. She brings up that he seems like a top player, and he's all sweaty because he thinks she's about to say it feels like he traveled back in time. She asks if he's going to finish off the wolf lord, and he goes for it, putting the cute sword to the furry guy's neck. He kinda feels bad for the wolf. In the end, he scores a C-tier title, which boosts his skills in one-on-one fights. It's his first C-tier title. He wonders if she usually takes on this kind of quest solo, and she says she does everything herself, but then she kinda hesitates and says she doesn't have much to brag about since it's all thanks to her artifacts. He plays it cool, but she laughs it off, saying her artifacts are worth over 200 billion won, while she thinks he's using some cheap greatsword. She asks if he's going to check out his new title, but he's confused. His face-off title kicks in because it's just him and Miso, but he brushes it aside and denies it. She decides to leave first since she needs to talk to her mules. Quest rewards include all the loot from monster kills, and the mules do the heavy lifting for players. She even offers him a 5% cut, which catches him off guard. He calls out to her, but she just brushes it off. She thinks they'll see more of each other, and for her, it's a small investment in him. That surprises him since he finds her pretty unpredictable. He turns around excitedly to see his long-awaited rewards, and it's this blue moonstone. It's a crazy platinum artifact that boosts a ton of his stats. He's trembling because he finally got a platinum-tier artifact, which could easily sell for $1 billion or more. With that cash, he could even buy an apartment in Seoul. The goddess of luck appears, all full of herself and teasing him about whether he finally thinks she's the one behind his lucky streak. He's convinced he makes his own luck though. Another constellation laughs off her so-called luck, and he even calls for her to be booted out. But then, the goddess of luck calls for a surprise vote among all the constellations, and she actually ends up winning. This backfires on the other constellation's minion, and it hits him that she's pretty popular. He gets a 40% absorption boost for platinum tiers, along with a special effect that ups his stamina and regeneration, but it might not work under a full moon. Still, he goes for a mana sink with the moonstone. They can't believe he actually pulled off a level 100 quest. Some of them think Miso might be messing around, but she reassures them. The assistant girl is surprised too, but Miso tells her to chill, she's just doing her job. No one expects a level 17 to even get close to a level 100 quest. Miso tells the assistant to remember his face. He feels a bit bad for that lady. Then a hungry guild recruiter jumps in, trying to snag him right away, but Miso steps in to save him. They freak out that Eden Guild got to him first. He decides to chat with her for a minute, since she helped him dodge those eager recruiters. Now they're both sitting in the car. He's shocked to see how much money is in his account. The rewards are coming in fast, and he's not used to that, but he owes it all to Miso, and he really appreciates her. She calls out to her minion, and tells it to switch to secret mode. That's when it hits him that her kindness comes with a catch. She doesn't like to beat around the bush, so she straight up tells him she wants him to join their add-on guild. He plays it chill, and says she sounds pretty sure he'll come on board, but they didn't pick Eden for no reason. She is sure he won't regret it. Before the rewind, he was in a regular guild that gave him a sense of security and comfort. They took him in when he had nowhere to turn, and it felt like home until that terrible incident where he lost everyone. No matter how great a guild is, it was holding him back from growing at the pace he wanted. So, he made the call to go solo. He tells Miso he's sorry about it, but she figures out pretty quickly that he's planning to start a solo guild. That catches him off guard, and he's surprised at how perceptive she is. She knows what he's capable of. At the player town, a girl is taking care of the finances to snag a great spot. She heads out while he appreciates all she's done. Thanks to some good luck from the goddess, he quickly finds a new place. As he looks out the window, he can't help but reflect on everything that's happened so far. Suddenly, he experiences a strange time rewind that leaves him feeling a bit lost. At first, he doesn't know how to move on, but things change pretty fast. He starts to remember a feeling he hasn't had in ages. There's this rush and adrenaline coursing through him, and it hits him even without doing anything. It's that youthful vibe he thought he lost. This time, he's determined to live differently, not stuck in that old, sad version of himself. Good chances to grow just keep popping up, and Miso is already chatting with some journalists who are curious about the same stuff. She's pumped about telling them all about him. She's definitely not a newbie when it comes to fighting, but she mentions that she's planning to check out an uncharted gate soon. She's putting together a team of 4 with a level cap of 120. Our guy jumps in, almost as if he's about to snag a spot on the team. He can't believe it when she tells him she'd rather stay with the guild, but he's just pumped about the chance to dive into a gate. Dungeons are static once you're in. Everything stays the same. The entrance, the exit, the traps, and the monsters. Gates, on the other hand, are unpredictable. Everything inside can shift around, from where the portals are to where the monsters pop up. The one constant is this: bigger risks usually mean bigger rewards. Plus, unidentified gates come with a first clear bonus that guarantees a high-tier artifact. He bets she's already been to one since she's got this artifact that cancels the Black Wolf's stun. She says she'll keep him posted once she has more info. She suggests swapping numbers, but he spots something on her phone wallpaper. She looks surprised, realizing she forgot to switch to the call screen. After a sigh of relief, she relaxes a bit, but he's playing it cool. He can tell she's got some story behind her, just like he does one he can't let anyone find out about. If anyone discovers he time travels, he could be in serious trouble. Then he suddenly thinks about late blooming Scholar and wonders how he's holding up. He knows he isn't tied to him anymore, but they spent so many years together. He kind of wishes he could have at least popped into the VIP room at Eden Guild. A tough guy spots Miso glued to her phone and asks if she's waiting for someone. She tells him she's about to go on a raid with my boy. He jokes about whether she's got a crush on him, but she brushes it off. The dude notices my boy's long stun and how he instantly turned down the guild invite. She gives him a wink, saying he better watch his back. Miso mentions that my boy's sword skills are insane, almost as good as the tough guys. He just laughs it off, saying he's Jinho, a level 700 S-rank player, and while my boy might be solid, he's not on his level. At the training center, my boy is on a call with Miso. She tells him about this random gate that just popped up and sends him the scouting report. He decides to check it out and discovers something pretty unexpected. The more he reads about the gate, the happier he gets because it's just a coincidence. He ends up snagging a perfect skill for this crew, the Hour of the Cannon Answer, which boosts stamina, recovery, and regeneration. He's really thankful to her for that. Then, the captain from the first raid yells out, asking if my boy plans on keeping him waiting. He laughs it off and apologizes, saying that since he's kind of a big deal now, he gets it. My boy tries to play it cool, but he's guessing the captain hasn't heard the news yet. That throws him off a bit, and the captain explains that my boy is on the front page of the Player Times. That totally blindsides him. Not that he's trying to dodge the spotlight or anything. Meanwhile, the captain jokes about taxes, but it turns out used artifacts have better absorption rates. Just then, some girl rushes in. She's a total knockout, like the kind of bad captain type you'd see in movies. My boy is curious about who she is, and the captain fills him in she's the appraiser who's going going to handle their deal. He doesn't want my boy thinking he got hustled, so the girl starts working her magic on the artifacts and finishes up her appraisal. She lets out a sigh of relief, thinking the price is fair. Just as they're about to wrap things up, the captain asks if he could check out his sword skills. My boy feels like he's not good enough to coach anyone, even though it's clear his skills are way better than the captain's. He's not about to let his pride get in the way of getting better either. He's hesitant since he hates wasting time, but then he looks at the guy and thinks it'd be rude to blow off someone who's putting in the effort, so he tells him to show what he's got. He gestures for the girl to step back, and the pumped-up captain charges right at him. All pumped up, the captain starts swinging his weapon around. My boy notices he's actually getting stronger since their dungeon raid. You can tell by his moves. But then he spots something and calls out to the captain, who clearly has more to show. My boy asks if there's something up with his left arm, and the captain can't believe he figured it out. My boy sees that, whenever the captain swings with his right arm, his left shoulder opens up too early, so it's pretty obvious what's going on. The captain admits he's right, saying he's worried about his left side getting hurt again. He thinks that's the part that usually gets messed up during training and raids, so it's become a habit he can't break, even when he notices it. But my boy drops a surprise on him. Getting rid of that habit is actually pretty easy. He says the captain should change things up and turn that weak point into a strength. He guides him on how to grip the sword and everything. Meanwhile, the girl's kind of lost with all this grip talk. She starts blushing when the captain admits it's tough and it's hurting him. She gets even redder when the position gets trickier for the captain, but he feels like he's actually starting to improve. She can't believe what these two are up to, totally misreading their serious training as something way more suggestive. The captain is sweating like crazy, and she can't wrap her head around what she's seeing. Later that day, the appraiser's search history is never going to be the same. Our guy ends up shelling out 400 million won, but he scores way more value than that. The captain's pumped, but for some reason, the appraiser chick seems all flustered. He's super eager to check out the results of his awesome artifact meals, but then he's hit with a surprise when a bunch of goons block his way. He casually asks if they're good, but they just stroll up like they've been waiting for him all day. One jerk tells him to get out of the car. He's caught off guard, but they just keep repeating the same order, having a laugh about it. Out of nowhere, the fat jerk starts showing off some moves, acting like our guy is going to go up in flames with the car. He remembers these thugs. They're Young-chol from the Utopia Guild, those big bullies who pick on weaker players, and his sidekick runs their YouTube channel. They crossed the line way too much before and ended up disappearing after their court sentences. He sighs in relief since they're basically the first lowlifes you can imagine. The fat jerk can't believe our guy knows just how to get under their skin. Our guy is itching to test out his new skills from those artifacts he scarfed down. The goons try to act all tough, but he's totally unfazed, standing right in front of them. The fat jerk tries to chill him out, saying they're just a neighborhood patrol, dealing with complaints about some loser driving a filthy tractor. Then he kicks the guy's car, and my boy is stunned. The fat jerk goes on to say that if he doesn't want the junk totally wrecked, he better grab his stuff and bounce. The minions watching are surprised, but then they realize it's the same dude from today's player times. He's the one who partied with Miso. They remember this kid is Sanghyeon, who's actually a big deal now, with rumors floating around that he soloed a level 100 quest. But to the fat jerk, he looks like a nobody. His sidekick chimes in about Miso, and they get all hyped, thinking about today's stream title. They want to school this noob who's riding Miso's coattails. They start yelling, and Young-chol tells my boy to step up for a one-on-one in training mode. If Young-chol wins, my boy has to peace out of the player town. If he wins, they'll leave him alone. Our guy is down but throws in some conditions. He wants 500 million in cash and an arm on the line. He teases if the jerk's too chicken to go for it. Young-chol can't believe his ears. His sidekick pipes up that the chat is pushing him to do it, which gets him all fired up. My boy asks again if the jerk will go through with it or bail. Young-chol starts worrying that the video might get flagged for gambling and violence, risking demonetization. He thinks about using this as a way to chill out in the player town. A crowd starts to gather to watch. My boy jumps into training mode as the barrier sets up for both players. The jerk tells him to back out now if he's gonna have regrets later. As the mode gets ready, our guy takes a deep breath. Young-chol says he's not playing around, but when he looks up, my boy is already airborne, ready to slam him. He's not joking either. He warns the jerk not to even think about backing out if he loses. On the other side of the screen, Miso is glued to the live stream. She can't wrap her head around what's going on and is totally baffled by how reckless Young-chol from Utopia is acting. That's when another girl jumps in, asking what's up. She's a total knockout from Eden Guild, rocking a crazy level 700 as an S-rank player. She spots our guy and wonders if he's the one Miso's been trying to recruit. She can't believe he's even on that cringy program. This hotshot chick, Terry, notices that his moves look pretty solid. Meanwhile, the biggest jerk is fuming because our guy had his back like that. He totally snaps and gets all fired up to take our guy out, unleashing a fire strike right at his face. But our guy just tightens his grip on his sword and flicks it once, swatting the flames away like it's nothing. The flames hit the ground with a huge bang. Even Yongchol's sidekick can't believe what he's seeing. After the rewind, he finally gets his body to move the way he wants it to. He's cool with the appraiser chick for setting up the trade, and she's appreciative of him too. The captain asks him out for drinks, showing off all his cash. They can eat whatever they want, but our guy has to turn it down since he's got other plans. The captain is totally taken aback by this. He even tries to mess with the appraiser chick, but she hurries off. Our guy doesn't mind grabbing a drink, but he'd rather have a decent meal. Later on, he lets out a sigh of relief and checks the absorption rate. It's still running and finally hits 90%. Both the goddess of luck and our guy are pretty surprised by it. She's all bragging about how all his good luck comes from her. Suddenly, he asks her about a constellation he's interested in, the late blooming scholar. She flips out on him for being curious about another constellation after he promised to focus on her. He tries to explain that this one is special to him. Now he gets why she's feeling jealous. She tells him to raise his hand and says she'll try to find that constellation just because she's feeling generous. Then she heads off to deal with the artifacts. Meanwhile, he's over on his side, handling the artifacts like it's mealtime. He syncs up with all 5 artifacts, and they turn into these amazing dishes fit for a real man. He's practically drooling while he syncs with them. The captain's had these artifacts for ages, yet the dishes turn out ridiculously powerful. Each one has a crazy 90% absorption rate. After he eats them, he ends up with some wild skills and serious stat boosts. Now, in the present, the fat jerk is shaking, while our guy gets a heads up about another attack coming. Miso can't believe it, but Terry stays chill since she knows he'll dodge it. My boy reminds the jerk about the deal and charges in, ready to grab that 500 million and an arm for real. The sidekick is grinning, thinking our guy fell for it, but out of nowhere, his foot goes numb. At the same time, the jerk smirks and flashes his holy finger, acting all smug like he's already won. My boy just freezes up as ice starts creeping around him. Terry can't believe that this hefty dude can use anything other than fire magic. Miso, on the other hand, is cracking up because she's totally not surprised. She already knows our guy can wash away any debuffs, and that's exactly why she's so into him. In a flash, the ice does nothing to him. That hefty dude is totally thrown off and starts wondering where our guy disappeared to. He's convinced the skill kicked in, and there's no way to escape without a dispel. Then it hits him, our guy is right behind him, and he starts questioning if this newbie is actually the real deal. A moment later, our guy drops in from above and smacks him down. He goes for a sword stab, but training mode kicks in and blocks any serious damage. The stream viewers are totally stunned when they realize our guy just used a dispel. The fat jerk is just as shocked and sees that our guy seems like a whole new person now. He can't wrap his head around what just happened. Terry quickly figures out that it's some sort of weakening skill, which throws Miso for a loop. Terry explains it could either be a transcendence or a psychedelic skill, and she ultimately confirms it's the psychedelic kind. Apparently, any damage taken while in that state leaves you super wiped out afterward. Miso is in disbelief because she knows he never pulled a move like that when he was with her. Terry suggests there are just 2 options. Either he didn't need to choose it before, or he somehow got it really quickly. Meanwhile, the appraiser girl starts to sweat because the artifact our guy bought has a hidden skill, and that psychedelic vibe totally fits with it. Miso is still struggling to believe it, since the chances of unlocking that hidden skill are just 0.02%. She figures he must have hit the jackpot with luck. The skill quickly heals HP and lasts for 100 seconds. Our guy can't chop off the jerk's arm since they're in training mode and asks if he wants to go another round without it. The jerk gets all worked up and decides he needs to get serious. He's trying to back off, but can't figure out what's happening anymore. He realizes he wouldn't have kicked this whole thing off if he'd known how strong our guy really was. He shoots a look at his sidekick and curses him for filling him with nonsense. Meanwhile, our guy grabs the jerk by the head. It's time to settle things, since there's a price on him now. He slams him down and coolly tells him he won't die because they're still in training mode. The jerk freaks out, calls our guy the winner, and promises to wire over the 500 million right away. For our guy, that's a done deal, and now it's personal revenge. The jerk can't believe that's not the end of it. Our guy explains that this fight is more than just cash. A few days ago, he was at a car repair shop, and the mechanic said his car was fixed but wouldn't last long. It was an old model and needed to be scrapped soon. Our guy remembers standing there in shock, being told it was time to say goodbye, and imagining the car saying she was lucky to have him as her driver. He pictures her telling him to be happy and that she'd be watching from scrap metal heaven. This is all about getting revenge for his beat up but awesome car. The guy just can't stop apologizing while our dude keeps throwing punches. It's such a pathetic scene, and the smell is absolutely disgusting as the jerk totally freaks out. It's really gross. Completely defeated, he keeps whining and crying like a little kid. The smell is enough to gross everyone out. Even the sidekick starts to realize they really messed with the wrong guy and are totally done for. Someone steps up and shouts that the kid is Mr. Mun. He can't escape the mess they created. Turns out, he's the managing director of the Utopia Guild. The kid apologizes and notices that my boy has just woken up as a player. He also sees that our guy completely wiped the floor with their jerk, Choi. Mun says he's here to sort things out and talk about compensation. Our guy coldly asks for Mun's name and guild. Mun's taken aback at first, but it hits him that it's not rudeness, it's confidence. He can't brush off how our guy's skills already blow his away. Feeling humbled, Mun bows and properly introduces himself. He knows he has to recruit this guy. Mun swears to cover all the damages, thinking Utopia can handle it. But our guy calmly demands 2 billion won, saying that 500 million is way too low. Mun is left scratching his head, trying to haggle with lower numbers. Outside his apartment, the paparazzi are all over him, firing off questions. He tries to ignore them, but they keep pushing for interviews. Frustrated, he slams the door shut. He's got way too much going on as it is. The rumors about him dating Miso are ridiculous. Still, he can't help but feel a bit excited since today is the day for the gate raid with her. This past week has been huge for him. He's stacked up some wild stat buffs and leveled up Demon Bash, which can now stun enemies for 5 seconds. He also unlocked two-handed sword mastery, and it gets even better. Checking out his results from all that grinding, he sees that he's hit level 100 inches sword mastery. Plus, he gained focus charge, which really amps up his speed while charging at enemies. He feels ready for the gate raid. There are a ton of things he wishes he had done differently back then. He knows he didn't really make the most of his past experiences. In that earlier fight with the full flawed, he was backed into a corner, and all he could do was take a risk. Against that jerk, he won just because he was quicker. If they'd both been a bit better, he could have ended up seriously hurt. He takes a deep breath. If things keep going this way, he won't be able to change anything from his past life. The second big collapse is coming in 2040, and this time, he has to change the future no matter what. He needs to get way stronger, just like the heroes who once saved him. Out of nowhere, his phone starts buzzing. He picks it up, and it's bad news. Today's the interview. The caller confirms there are no scheduling conflicts. He feels totally doomed. He agrees to be there soon, but honestly, it completely slipped his mind. The gate raid is at 7 p.m., the interview is at 2, and he's only got 15 minutes to make it. He barely makes it in time, leaving the hosts pretty shocked. They're all buzzing to ask about his rumored romance with Miso, but he looks totally wiped out. He pushes through the crowd, telling everyone to give him some space since he's still in a psychedelic daze. The interviewer is all set as he takes his seat, looking super intense, almost like he just came back from a dungeon raid. But honestly, it was even worse than that. He apologizes for being late. The interviewer almost brings up Q area, but then switches gears and mentions another big incident that's got everyone talking. Apparently, folks are saying player level doesn't really show true skill. Our guy is low level but is already getting called a generational talent. The interviewer asks if a lot of guilds are trying to recruit him. It's true, Eden Guild wants him, but the focus shifts to overseas guilds. He mentions that the news just broke today, so our guy probably hasn't heard yet. That morning, 5 overseas guilds hit up the Korea Players Association to get him verified. Normally, these guilds recruit early, but they hardly ever go for brand new players. That just shows how much this guy is starting to stand out. Later that evening, at the spawn spot, he's contemplating going solo, but the thought of those overseas guilds is pretty tempting. Still, he can't shake off how badly he was treated before. Just then, Miso spots him and says hi, and out of nowhere, he sees Tairi right behind Miso. Miso finds out that Tairi has been saying she wants to meet him. He realizes she's part of Eden too and thinks maybe they should chill at a cafe for a bit. When Miso sees Tairi, he says hi, and she returns the greeting. Tairi introduces Miso, even though everyone knows who he is. She's the Shadow Assassin, the top player in the country, and one of the leaders of Eden. It's wild how he keeps bumping into these high-ranking players since the rewind. Tairi then asks him for a favor. It seems a bit random, but he's open to it as long as it's something he can handle. She reveals it's nothing major, and casually suggests they have a fight. Miso jumps in, saying they just met. She points out that's not what she said before. Miso tries to ease the tension, but the guy says he's cool with it. He even throws out the idea of dueling right there. Getting a chance to fight one of the top players in the nation is a pretty big deal. Tairi notices that Miso really knows how to spot exceptional players. She suggests they have a quick duel with just 5 moves each. Miso realizes he doesn't stand a chance, but opportunities like this don't come around often. It's a great way to see how much he's improved. The moment Tairi grabs her weapons, she transforms into someone completely different. There's no room for mistakes, so he gets ready and goes all out. Miso starts sweating because she isn't too sure about where this is headed. Tairi makes the first move, and in the blink of an eye, she disappears. He's taken aback by that. With his current abilities, he knows it's too late to react properly, so he focuses on blocking and predicting what she'll do next. Tairi finds this intriguing. He's somehow managing to keep himself safe and realizes he's moving better than he thought he would. That pushes her to speed things up. Now, she has 4 moves left. She closes the gap in an instant, moving faster and faster. He shuts his eyes, blocking out his vision and going purely on instinct, just like before. It's definitely trickier this time, but but it's his only shot. Miso is shocked because Terry is the one right in front of him. She thinks this is pretty reckless. Just as he's about to get sliced, he dodges and blocks her feints. Terry can't help but be impressed by how focused he is. She didn't think he'd be able to stop her follow-up. Even top swordsmen would have a hard time with that kind of concentration. It hits her that this level of focus comes from experience, not just talent. It's like she's up against a seasoned player. Now, she's got 3 moves left, but suddenly he asks her for a favor. Instead of sticking to 3 moves, he suggests they both go all in for one big attack. This totally throws her off. He knows it might sound cocky, but he feels he can't miss this chance. He wants her to give it everything she's got in that one move. If he can't see her full power now, it'll be tough to break through to that next level. She agrees, even though she figures she can't really unleash all her strength. The training mode isn't even on. He gets that it could be risky if she uses a skill, but he still wants to see what the shadow assassin can really do. She takes her stance, and he's ready to treat this like it's life or death. She takes off like a rocket. He can't even feel her coming. He realizes he shouldn't swing it where she is, but where she's headed. He locks in on that spot, and his sword almost lands a hit. Right then, she uses Shadow Phantom and appears behind him. As he turns around, she gives his face a light tap. She checks in to see if he's alright. He assures her he's good, but reminds her that she promised not to use any skills. The hit hurt like crazy, and she reaches out her hand, mumbling an apology since she promised not to use her skills. He's mostly okay, grateful she went all out with that move. She casually says she hopes they can chat more next time, and he feels the same way. Now it's time for the gate raid. Miso is clearly annoyed and tells Terry that she'll have to report everything that just went down to the guild. He reflects on the fight and realizes it was his first real loss. If Terry had gone serious from the start, he would have lost on the first move. Just another huge challenge he has to tackle. Terry pauses, looks back, and gives him a small smile, almost like she's saying he still has a long way to go. Outside the unknown gate, the minions gather. Miso kicks things off with some introductions and meets the 2 players who are joining the team. They greet him and mention they've already seen plenty of articles about him. The first is Taesuk Park, a mage with ignition skills, and he's a level 120 A rank player. His fire skills are like Choi's, but he explains he's refined them a lot. He's still working on the blue flame stage. Our guy figures that focusing on one element is the smarter move. One reason he took down Choi so easily was that Choi spread his growth over too many elements. The other teammate, Juhui Kang, is this super shy mage who has this cool spatial link ability and is rocking a level 110 A rank. She starts to show off what she can do, but Miso tells her to hold up. Out of nowhere, there's a crazy rush of wind and a massive portal opens right in front of him. That's her power in action. She says she hopes they can all work well together, and it hits him that Miso really did put together an amazing team. So, Miso and our guy take care of the ranged and melee damage, while Taesuk and Juhui handle support. The best part? Their coordination is spot on, which is what really matters. He gets lost in thought, thinking back to memories from before the rewind. Miso notices he seems off, and asks if something's still bugging him. He brushes it off, and focuses back on the raid. They step into the gate, totally ready to go. Once inside, they find themselves in this icy abyss, with minions coming at them from every direction. Our guy quickly realizes Taesuk is a lifesaver. Without his buffs, they'd probably freeze solid. He uses Blessing of Flames to give everyone cold resistance. Miso points out that the weather wasn't this brutal when she checked the gate out before. She also spots a new weapon he's got, along with his great sword. He knows he's got to stay agile for this raid. Miso's shocked that he can juggle multiple weapons, and he plays it cool, admitting he's been putting in serious work on that because he's tired of faking his way through things. Miso shouts for Juhui, and out of nowhere, this huge monster pops up behind them. Juhui doesn't waste any time and uses her magic. Just as the beast comes crashing down, our guy and Miso manage to dodge it barely. Juhui teleports them to safety right at the last second. Our guy steps up and tells her to cover him. If you're still here, you clearly liked it, so hit like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments if we should do the next part or which manhwa to cover next. Until then, see you in the next video.